Welcome back. I'm Jason, the Botanical Buzzard. It's about noon here in Tampa, Florida, and I'm at my friend's garden that I planted. This is the second year we've been growing here, and this is going to be a short video about yams. I've been talking about yams to my cousin and a couple of other people lately who absolutely have no idea what they are, and honestly, up until a couple of years ago, I really didn't know much about yams either. I guess no matter which way I turn, there's going to be a shadow in my face, huh? That's called high noon for you. Anyway, let me show you here what I've got going on. I just planted the purple yam. It's called an ube. This guy is already coming out of the ground, as you can see right here. Nice purple shoot. I cannot believe how fast he sprouted up. I just planted these a couple of days ago, but they were waking up and they were starting to sprout already. This is a sweet potato. But the purple yams are going to take over that area. Over here by the fence, you can't see them, I'm just showing you the area. Here we've got the scallions, some green onions, and I've got this area here which is planted with a handful of Chinese yams, also known as Dioscorea polystachya. I think it used to have another name at one point. The opposing leaves, what is that? Dioscorea apostifolia, something like that. The two leaves that oppose each other. It's also known as the cinnamon vine. If you want to research its history in America, it was grown in the pioneer days here as a cinnamon vine. When you harvest the bulbils off of this vine, your fingers will smell just like cinnamon. It's amazing how iconic of a smell that is, and yet it's almost exactly like it is. Very good smelling vine. I am crouched next to a second year greater yam, Dioscorea, a lot of the greater white yam. Let's see, get him in the film, get him in the shot here. It's a large, thick vine that came out of the ground when it woke up this year because it's his second year. The vine is much thicker and it is growing much faster and much more vigorous. And the way these yams work, let me walk into a spot here where my face isn't so shadowed. The way these yams actually work, it's not like a potato. You would think it's a tuber that grows in the ground. It's not like a sweet potato either. It grows more like, I guess, an American groundnut, Apios americana, or the Prince rare version, Apios princiana, which I have not been able to find. It's endangered, and I've been looking everywhere that I can for it. But it grows a tuber in the ground and it shoots a vine up. The vine climbs, finds its sunshine, continues to climb, some of them 60, 70, hundreds of feet, some species. And it grows a tuber, it pumps all that energy into a tuber in the ground. You basically have solar panels in the form of leaves, and they pump all that energy. They turn that sun energy into starch, into the ground, and it just grows a larger and larger tuber. Now, if you leave it in the ground and do not harvest the underground tuber, it will die back in the winter if you're in a relatively temperate climate, and it will come back in the spring much larger. It has a lot of energy in that tuber, and it uses that energy as a bank account to shoot up a vine. It dumps a lot of that energy into the initial vine because it knows it's going to get a good return on investment once it pumps that energy into the vine, into the leaves, and can capture more solar energy. It will increase the tuber in size exponentially. My experience for the white greater yam is in year one, under good conditions, if you harvest the yam, it can be anywhere from 7-10 pounds. If you leave it in the ground on year two, you would expect the tuber to continue to grow in size and more than double. I would I have seen them come out of the ground on year 2, 20 to 30 pounds. If you leave them in the ground longer than that, they're just going to get bigger and bigger. I seen Rob Greenfield on his channel find a yam in Florida somewhere. Lord knows how long it had been left alone. Out in the woods, nobody knew it was there, so it just kept growing back year after year. I think the tuber, he said, weighed in at over 150 something pounds when they were finally able to excavate this dinosaur size yam from the ground. Something that would feed a village for sure. That's a lot of porridge. But I want to talk about some other things about this yam. They have a lot of other qualities that would be very good for what you would consider a survival crop. This tuber can be stored without going bad. When you dig a potato up and it sits on the shelf, it will eventually rot. The yams don't. They skin over. They keep, as long as they're not somewhere where they're going to mildew and mold and rot for that reason. Even if you cut a piece off and either plant it or eat it, it will skin back over. And you can come back and revisit this yam. So if you have a 25-pound yam sitting, on a shelf, in a cupboard, you can come lop a piece off, cook it, it'll skin back over, and you can come back a month later and lop another piece off. And if it's time, you can plant it. This is something that I could see if I was pioneering across the country and I wanted to bring a mule filled with sacks of yams. These would be the perfect food to bring. They wouldn't spoil along the way. I could stop and cook them, eat them anytime I want, and then plant one and leave. When I get to where I'm going, months later, on the other side of the Oregon Trail, if you will, whatever's left, I can plant and start a new crop there. If I ever decided to make my way back, I would stop everywhere that I planted those yams and I'd be able to dig some up, carry them with me. If a yam was growing on the side of a hill and there was a landslide, it wouldn't kill the yam, because wherever it lands and ends up, it's going to continue to grow. If an asteroid was to come out of the sky and blast the mountain and it blew up the yam into 50 pieces, guess what? You've got 50 little yams that are going to grow up everywhere. So you've got something that almost can't be killed. It's drought tolerant. It thrives on neglect. It will take all the sun you can throw at it. One of the few plants in Florida that loves the sun. Nothing eats it, nothing attacks it. Also, if the yam begins to grow shoots out of the ground, and say deer, goats, animals come by and they feed on the green that's emerging, it still has energy in the tuber to keep producing more shoots. The vine will keep coming out of the ground. If it's a large enough yam, it could probably do this near indefinitely. I would imagine whatever threatens the yam would die off before the yam finally gave up. I would imagine that whatever animal was eating it would be gone, and the yam would still be throwing up shoots, and eventually it's going to get enough sunshine to bring itself back. So it can't be eaten to death. You can't starve it to death. I've seen it grow in places with no water and no nutrients, no fertilization, and they don't do great, but they do keep growing, and they're easy to propagate. It's rare to get one from seed. However, they do make bulbils on the vine, which you can plant, and the tubers that you dig up from the ground can be saved for the following year to be replanted as well. They grow back very easy. They require no attention, no love. So if somebody says they can't garden or they do not have a green thumb, try yams. I don't think you could kill it. Have a blessed day.